What's going on, guys? Kelly Q here, and yes, the hype of Eiyuden Chronicle is seemingly dying down and everything is starting to stabilize itself, but there are still more videos to be made and more discussions to be had. And yes, you saw the title. Today I'll be going over the things that Eiyuden Chronicle actually does better than the Suikoden series. Yes, I know, controversial, blasphemy, whatever you want to call it. These are 5 things that I think Eiyuden Chronicle does just a bit better than the Suikoden series as it stands of right now. And keep in mind, I'll also be doing a sister video to this exact video where I'll go over the things that the Suikoden series does much better than Eiyuden Chronicle. Alright, now that we got all the disclaimers out of the way, hope nobody gets offended by this list, but let's go ahead and jump into the 5 things that I think Eiyuden Chronicle actually does a bit better. Now, I've spoke about this many and plenty of times. The HQ system in Eiyuden Chronicle is leagues and bounds above the HQ system in the Suikoden series. Now, this is not a knock to the Suikoden series. I still love how the castle or ship in certain cases continues to grow as you recruit more and more characters. But like a spiritual successor should, Eiyuden took that base foundation and continued to expand upon it by adding different options, adding different ways to build your castle, build your town, build a community, level up things, have farms, have pastures, have all of these cool things like, you know, the bars and hot springs and cooking and restaurants. Eiyuden Chronicle really made it feel like a living and breathing town, and that was the goal. You had to go and gather these resources for your town, gather the resources needed to expand and build and grow, and this system feels awesome. It feels alive, and it takes the formula that Suikoden set and expands and makes it even greater than it was before. So I have to give the W to Eiyuden Chronicle when it comes to the town development and the HQ building, because they really took and ran away with it. I really like how they handled the HQ in this game. There are some grievances here and there, but overall this was an amazing foundation for future Eiyuden Chronicle titles, hopefully. Now, this one is a bit of a slight spoiler, so I won't say anything related to it story-wise, but the way that Eiyuden Chronicle handles its duels are both great and both underwhelming when it comes to its comparison against the Suikoden series. Now, presentation wise and visually wise, I'm putting Eiyuden Chronicle a little bit ahead because these felt like scenes out of an anime fighting sequence. I really enjoyed the duel and the atmosphere and the tones in Eiyuden Chronicle when it came to this feature of the game. However, I would say in the Suikoden series, it feels like there's more of a rock, paper, scissors element to it than there was in Eiyuden Chronicle. Kind of seemed like there was only one way to get to certain outcomes when it came to Eiyuden Chronicle. Nevertheless, I really enjoyed the presentation and the tone of the duels in Eiyuden Chronicle. Every duel that I had in this game, I felt the weight. Now, some Suikoden fans will fight me on that, but I was really impressed with the way that they were using the camera angles. All of it just really worked for me. So I'm going to put Eiyuden Chronicle's duels ahead of the Suikoden series. This is debatable once again, but I'm rocking with Eiyuden when it comes to this because I really enjoy the way they made the scenes feel very cinematic, and the duels had a little bit more weight on them because of this. But mechanically, I would say I would give the edge to the Suikoden series, but this is not the video for that. So duels are in Eiyuden Chronicle's favor. Next, this one's a little bit tricky as well, but I'm going to go with character recruitment. Now, hear me out on this. If you're a long-term Suikoden fan, you know that this game presents itself with missable characters. In Eiyuden Chronicle, it's a lot more lenient and a lot more forgiving, probably for newcomers and beginners of this type of JRPG. So I would say that this is a positive for Eiyuden Chronicle, as a lot of folks were able to enjoy it without the stress of trying to find tick for tack or getting to the end and only having, you know, 60 or 70 characters and getting the bad ending like I did when I first played Suikoden 5 back in the day. I thought that was the real ending of the game, and I had absolutely hated the game because of that ending. Nevertheless, I like the fact that Eiyuden Chronicle, I would say, somewhat holds your hand if you're a new player. On the flip side though, I can see where some Suikoden fans were looking for a bit more of a challenge or a bit more of a variety than just talking to folks. A lot of time in Eiyuden Chronicle, the game prompted you to go and find new allies and find recruits. That doesn't quite happen in the Suikoden games as much or as often. So I find that that was probably more for accessibility for newcomers and things of that nature, but I'll give it a positive because I think it did help a lot of new folks enjoy this type of game with so many characters just a little bit better due to the fact that they didn't have to literally play the game with a guide. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a specific character that's missable, and some characters were missable due to bugs and things like that. But nevertheless, Eiyuden Chronicle is a lot more generous in the character recruitment process, and I think that's a positive for it, while also in some cases being a negative if you like a challenge. Now, keep in mind, I'm not ignoring the elephant in the room. I absolutely hate the cooking mini game, lock feature, and the Baygoma game. I take that back. I don't hate it, but I dislike that they're so long and that they have a character at the end of those mini game sub stories. That absolutely should be cut down next time out. Now, I know we give Eiyuden Chronicle a lot of flack for not having good quality of life features, but we have to admit, teleportation here in Eiyuden Chronicle is a lot more accessible, and thank goodness it is actually in the game in the way that it is. Typically in the Suikoden series, you would have to run back to Vicky at the home base and back to that mirror or use an item, but in this case here, it's a part of the game. Pretty much, Carrie, as annoying as her one-liners become every single time you teleport, she is there for you when you need her. I just hope that next time out, we can at least silence her dialogue once and for all. I mean, no, she's not that bad, but sometimes when you have to hear the same dialogue due to the sheer amount of times you have to teleport in this game, yeah. But yes, I like that teleportation is here and we don't have to exactly be static to one location. We can whip up the menu, teleport anytime, anywhere we want to go, and that is definitely a positive. And last but not least is the theater mode, man. The theater mode is quite simply one of my favorite additions to a JRPG, period, let alone between Eiyuden Chronicle and the Suikoden series. Once you unlock Clark, you will be able to take any of your characters through different roles that they can write out or play out on a script. Now, there are endless possibilities, and what makes this feature cool is you get to see another aspect and another side to each one of these characters, and I really love how their personality bleeds through whatever performance that they are trying to accomplish. Now, of course, you will be graded on how well your characters do, so there are just a fun amount of things that you can do with this mode where you can keep trying to your heart's content to get the best score that you can. I also have to give this game major brownie points for each one of these scenes being voiced by each of the voice actors.
Come closer, child. So
Grandmother.
the better to hear you with, my dear.
Snoring. Evil wolf.
Really sounds like the voice actors had a blast and had fun doing these sort of different roles that weren't exactly on the main story script. So for me, this is one of the best features that they put in. And while the Suikoden series does have a hint of this, it never took it to the length and the extent that Eiyuden Chronicle did. So I gotta have Eiyuden Chronicle up. This is one thing that this game definitely did better than the Suikoden series. And that is all I have for you guys today. Now, keep in mind, I will be doing things that Suikoden series does better than Eiyuden Chronicle, so please be sure to subscribe and stick around for that video when it eventually does drop. Thank you guys for watching. God bless, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you guys are still enjoying the game.